And it's delayed on me, I don't know, but I believe we're all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live in a living color here with you only on Grande's Graveyard. And welcome back to another edition of the show where tonight, since we have closed the door on Tales from the Crypt 7 seasons that were, I figured what better time to open up a new door, a door to another world, a door to what some have called modern day Twilight Zone. Of course, a door to the Black Mirror. Yes, Black Mirror seasons 1 and 2 reviewed and ranked only on Grande's Graveyard. We have 7 episodes tonight here and absolutely no regrets. Of course, we'll be bringing back the old tier maker, F all the way down to S. We're going to be talking about Black Mirror seasons 1 and 2, and I'm very excited to be here with you on time this week. It's the little things, ladies and gents. It is the little things that go so far. Of course, we had Miss C was here live before we even got in the house. Ciao again, Grande. I know what it's like to. I know I like to be early, but that's first time I've been. Whole entire day early only on the graveyard. Yeah, no, that is true. Last week we were hitting some delays for sure. What's up? I hope Grande and everybody's doing well. Love Black Mirror. Haddonfield mascot. Welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Ciao, El Grande Americano. Ciao, Mateo. I have no idea what Black Mirror is. Here to find out. Hi to the whole graveyard. That is surprising because this is one of the most popular shows in the whole goddamn world. Season 7 of it coincidentally debuted the night I reviewed and finished season 7 of Tales from the Crypt. So I thought that was kind of crazy and coincidental. I swear to you, I did not plan for that, but I guess that's kind of how it worked out. Kind of weird. But yeah, no, basically what Black Mirror is well, we'll get into it tonight, but like I said, some have called it a modern day Twilight Zone, and of course the whole title, of course, refers to what you see when your phone is, blank. It's a black mirror, black screen, blank TV screens, what have you. These are basically anthology tales that all revolve around technology, all around revolve around the horrors of reality. And, they pose some very interesting commentary, some very interesting questions, some very interesting themes and thoughts and ideas that will be fun to discuss here tonight on Grande's Graveyard. So I'm happy to have you in the house, Mateo, and I'm happy to, introduce you to the wonderful world of Black Mirror because this was something that I've definitely been wanting to do for quite some time. D to the A, Donovan Alba in the house. Yo, JG in the Heezy. What's going on, Donovan? Hope all's well with you, buddy. We got Ghostface Brett in the house. What's up? Ghostface Brett was just getting out of the theater to see Sinners. I was going to say Sinisters, but no, it's Sinners. God damn it. It's Sinners, by God. We got Triple H on WrestleMania weekend. Charter Head Heather's in the house. What's going on, Triple H? Hey, everyone. Hey, Haddonfield. Hey, MSC. Mateo, Brett, everybody but me. No, I'm just kidding. I just watched the first 2 episodes of season 1 of Black Mirror. The first episode was wild. Oh yeah, you want to talk about get wild with the piggy in the graveyard tonight? We got Mayan. Long time no speak, Mayan. Rock on, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Good to see your name is always on here, Mayan. Hope all is well. Yeah, no, this is something I really have wanted to do for quite some time. And I had only seen certain Black Mirror episodes up until this past week for show prep. I'd seen the one with Bryce Dallas Howard. I actually watched this past weekend the episode Paul Giamatti, Eulogy, which just debuted on past Thursday night. So I really liked that. I liked those. And I was like, you know what? This is something I think would be fresh for the channel, right? We've reviewed almost every Twilight Zone, almost every Dark Side. We have reviewed every Crypt. What was the next step to take, right? There's so many good horror anthology television shows out there, and I was like, I wanted to get something that I haven't seen all of them, and of course, Black Mirror was the way to go. And I'm very excited here tonight to get into all these episodes with you because of the 7 I watched, right? You probably 7 episodes. That's it. 2 seasons, 7 episodes. Yes, this is very much more a quality over quantity show. You may be thinking 7 seasons of Black Mirror. That's got to be a lot of episodes. 33 episodes. That's all there is. In the entirety of the Black Mirror, series, you have 33 current episodes that you can watch. That is it. That is truly it. So not as many. That there are literally full seasons of the Twilight Zone with more than 33 episodes. So there is a very small sample size. But dare I say, I do think it's a case of quality over quantity, and I personally really appreciate that. Of course, a big hello to you, Grande, my friend, my bet. You're fine. You're fine. I'm just joking. They're going to kick you out of the Hall of Fame before you even get inducted. No, you're going to get inducted tomorrow. Give a hell of a speech. I'm very, very stoked about that. Only found out about Black Mirror, but WrestleMania season. I haven't found the time to watch it. Okay, hey, that's totally fine. I hadn't seen, other than one of these, I hadn't seen any of them either. So I'm very, excited to get into this, of course. And Haddonfield says that's National Anthem for Life, my favorite episode. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's going to be the first episode we talk about here. So I guess we won't hold you on any more suspense. So how about everybody? A cheers. I've got a boring Poland Spring here. Cheers to a safe, happy, healthy WrestleMania weekend. Go EO Sky. And I say we get our Black Mirror on here tonight, only on the Graveyard. Let's do it. All right. Haven't seen Black Mirror yet either. Wow. So a lot of people have not seen Black Mirror. That is actually kind of crazy to me because it's such a popular show. So let's see if we can entice you people here tonight. Let's see if we can entice you and say on the very first episode, of course, that debuted. And this was, of course, December 4th of 2011. Now, before I get into the episodes and review them, it's important to mention that this show debuted and originally was made by, of course, British talent, a British production called Zeppotron. And, of course, Zeppotron wrote and produced the first 2 seasons until, of course, Netflix stepped in. They realized the show's popularity. They stepped in. They bought the rights. And everything from season 3 onward is owned and produced by Netflix. So the first 2 seasons, the seasons we cover here tonight, Netflix did not have their fingers in the creative or anything like that. They just simply bought the rights and then of course aired them on Netflix, and that's the show grew even bigger and bigger and bigger in the United States until it became the ultimate phenomenon that it is now. So I figured that was worth mentioning. Of course, the show's creator, Charles Brooker, he shows up to write a majority of these episodes. He's truly the Rod Serling-esque type of guy with this particular series. And the guy's a tremendous writer. I think he's really, really talented. I think he has a lot of interesting things to say, a lot of interesting themes to bring up. And I don't know, I think that he does a really tremendous job, in being the head of creative with this show. So I definitely want to give Charles Brooker a nod here as we dive right in to the very first episode that was the episode that kicked it all off. This is season 1, episode 1, the National Anthem. Prime Minister Michael Callow faces a shocking dilemma when Princess Susanna, a much-loved member of the royal family, is kidnapped. Yes. Oh boy. So I personally think there is no better way to kick off a TV series than an episode like this, because this is absolutely what you call batshit crazy, or maybe just the more daring people out there will call it pig shit crazy. Yes, this is a wild one. So, of course, the prime minister of course, this country, he is awoken from bed one night. He's shaken up to, he's called and they say, you need to come in right now. We have a fucking code red, big emergency. The guy shuffles there in his fucking pajamas. What's going on? What's happening? They sit him down. They say, listen, the princess has been captured, but what we're about to show you, you have to promise you'll keep your cool. You have to promise that you'll keep, calm, cool, and collected. And he's like, what the hell are you going to show me? What's going on? And it's a ransom video where the princess is being gagged and she has a little blood on her face. She's crying hysterically. And she starts talking into the camera and says what needs to be done. And she says, basically, they don't want money. They don't want this. They don't want that. They don't want the other thing. All they want is that at 4 o'clock for the prime minister of this country to go on live national television on every single British programming that there is and have full sexual intercourse with a pig. Yes, that is the ransom. That is the challenge, if you will. And if they do not meet the demands, if they don't meet those demands, of course, the princess will be killed, murdered, and victimized on live TV for us all to see. Now, of course, the prime minister immediately, his knee-jerk reaction, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Should I do this? And we hear every single side of the story, right? We hear, his I guess, secretary, she has her opinions. His people in office behind and below him, they have their opinions. And the episode kind of plays out as we see all of the people around the world reacting to said news. What would happen if us in America, or us over our good friends in the UK, or wherever you live, what would happen if you just turned on the TV and you heard your person of political power was dared to have to go on TV, have sex live with a friggin' pig? I mean, it would be everywhere. It would be the number one story. That's what everyone would be looking at. And that's basically a whole commentary of what the episode is trying to say, because we see it instantly blow up from a small, tiny YouTube video that's continuously taken down to when it gets on public news, to when it gets on Twitter, to when it gets on Facebook, to when it gets around the water cooler in your place of business, right? We follow around these nurses that are working at a hospital, and they all stop what they're doing, even though being a nurse has got to be the most busiest job in the world, but they all stop what they're doing to watch what's going on with this particular prime minister situation. Oh my God, do you really think he's going to fuck a pig? Do you really think that's going to happen? And the episode kind of goes through each and every single person's perspective of this. Us little people that work our 9 to 5s, the people in the know, the people that try to outsmart the situation. What are we going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll hire a porn star. We'll put a green screen bag on his head and we'll try to CGI the prime minister's face so this way he can have sex with the pig. Nobody will be harmed. This guy does have all this sex for a living. He won't mind a little bestiality and we can all go on with our lives. No, that doesn't work because, of course, someone takes a picture of the guy going into the building and that goes global. That leaks and becomes this big phenomenon where everyone says, oh my God, they're trying to cheat the system. And then all of a sudden the princess's finger gets sent to the, that's just not going to work. You're not going to trick me. We're going to have the real prime minister have real sex really on TV with this real pig. That's what's going to happen. Otherwise she's toast. A really messed up concept when you think about it. And what better way to really light a fire and gauge someone's attention, right? We're opening up a brand new show, a brand new series. How do we hook them? How do we get them to sit down and stay and pay attention for the 45 to an hour or whatever the hell it was? I know, we'll bring up bestiality because why the hell not? And of course, you know, while the idea and the notion is so crazy, I think the whole reality of the horrors of the situation, they play out in a similar vein to George Romero's Diary of the Dead. I know a lot of people probably won't like that comparison, but I do think George was on to something like this a little bit before. What I mean by that is George Romero, of course, with Diary of the Dead, the whole commentary was people stop to look, they don't stop to help. Right? I mean, there's all these people in these situations that are laughing from bed, scrolling up on their Twitter feed, making jokes, making these kind of lighter moments of the situation. And that's what always happens, right? Look around the real world. Remember, we had all those wildfires? And what did people do? They made gifs of Godzilla being added into the background because aren't we fucking funny? Everything has to be a joke now. There is no such thing as let's take a serious situation seriously. No matter what it is, no matter how dark it may be, the internet always has and finds the comedy and humor in said subjects. That's what it is. That's what society's become. And this episode does a tremendous job at selling that story. That's what it happens with it. People will make gifts. People will make crude pictures and crude jokes because that's the way the world is. And what I think is so scary about that is because of A, how accurate it is, and B, it's so well portrayed. It's like this feels like something that really, really could happen. You're like, holy cow, I'm kind of blown away by this. I'm kind of astonished by this. Really well told story, in my opinion. Of course, it starts to kind of play out. We do follow this dumb reporter as she's trying to snoop her nose in a little too much. She ends up getting shot. That's a whole kind of subplot. And they're also doing this thing where she's sexting throughout the episode. Another kind of small commentary on, you know, phones and technology and thing like that. Until we get to the ending where I thought, wow, this was a great freaking twist. The twist is, of course, the prime minister eventually gets talked into doing it. Listen, you have to do this, otherwise the princess will die. He shows up in the studio. He sucks it up and he decides, I have to have sex with this pig. So he starts to, on live television, have sex with this pig. And then we get this amazing wide shot of the streets of the world, right? We see all of this empty streets and empty bridges and empty towns and cities and things like that until we see the princess herself lying motionless in the middle of this bridge when these joggers find her, pick her up, and we find out that she was let go a half hour earlier than the guy had to have sex with the pig. She was let go. It was never, ever a must for him to have sex with this pig. It was truly just the kidnapper proving a point, saying that we are all so addicted to our phones, we're all so addicted to our screens that we will miss what is dropped right under our noses, right? The princess could be dropped right in the middle of town, but we're all so concentrated on what's going on our phones and screens that we didn't notice the little old princess was let go, and he never had to be humiliated in the first place. He never had to sell out, for lack of a better term. And I was like, wow, that is a fantastic twist. I thought that was such a really, really smart twist. And of course, we see this guy after it all happens. They tell him, listen, they let her go. We're so sorry. You know, he's throwing up and all physically ill about it and stuff like that. And then we see it's like a year later, and we see how the rest of the people's lives that have been impacted by this have played out, right? We see the princess has gone on to live a normal life. She's still in the spotlight. She's still smiling and all of her beneficence. And then, of course, we see the prime minister, who seems like it hasn't hurt his public image, but you see that it has taken away a piece of his dignity, and his wife will never look at him the same way again. She kind of looks at him disgusted and goes up the steps as the episode comes to a close. Here's a man who tried to do the right thing, right? He had to humiliate himself. He had to go on live TV and do something that was unspoken and unheard of and disgusting in every single way. And because we were all so focused on our phones, we didn't stop him in time to say, hey, wait a minute, you don't have to really do this. You can save your dignity. You can maybe save your marriage, which has now become a cruel, harsh shell of what it used to be. I thought that was really dark, black, if you will, and in the best of ways. I really liked the national anthem. I thought this was a really good kickoff episode for this entire series. And man, for me, this has got to be an A. I think that Black premiere here, the national anthem, is just an undoubtful A episode. Just really, really good when it comes to horror psychology, when it comes to what it had to say, for what it was, preaching from a moralistic standpoint. I was like really impressed with this particular episode to kick this off. So let's see what y'all have to say in the comments, because I am always very, very curious to hear about that. Let's see. I agree with the modern Twilight Zone. Slasher Fred is in the house, so Slasher Fred is a fan of Black Mirror. Very cool to hear. I came to be enticed. Well, did the pig sex entice you? We got to know. Hey, how are you, buddy? By the way, I'm up to 2011 in my memoirs. Well, that's perfect. That's when this show debuted, 2011. Anthony Showbot does pop cultures and opening. Hope all is well with you, buddy. Toasting with my Crystal Geyser. Hell yeah, man. We got to stay healthy over here in the graveyard, drinking 0-calorie water. What the heck? High quality H2O. Well, hey, if anyone knows about spitting out water, it's Triple H. Come on, let's be honest with y'all here. Ryan Hanley's in the house. I've never seen Black Mirror, but want to stop by and say what's up. Ryan Hanley, hope all is well with you, man. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm actually quite surprised that so many guys have not seen this particular show because of its popularity. But no, that's totally understandable if you haven't seen it. I do highly recommend it. I think it's a good show for everybody. Let's see. I laugh when the one nurse asks, I wonder if it's going to be a female pig. Yeah, like that's the water cooler talk I thought was so accurate. Because listen, I've worked in a few offices in my life. It's like that's the type of conversation, right? And then there's always the one person in the office that'll make the offhand joke that's inappropriate, that's crude, but we all kind of laugh because it's not us in the situation. And I think that's a whole commentary in and of itself as well. What if it was you in the situation? Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to all of us that aren't the prime minister, that don't have to be pressured into having intercourse with an animal on live TV so the princess can spare her fingers and her life. It's funny to us. It's, of course, to the people that aren't involved in the situation. But once you are involved in the situation, holy shit, all of a sudden, a funny joke becomes a terrifying nightmare. And I think that that's another big point that this was trying to make. And dare I say, the whole, when I made that short, that's the big message of it. You're all holier than thou until you're in the situation. That's the whole kind of message there. And I liked how it was done here. It sounds like one of those old cartoons where they would have those good conscience and bad conscience. Sure. And then, unfortunately, a lot of us have some bad conscience that we like to let shine out a little bit. They had patients down in the lobby in wheelchairs and on IV meds that watching with them. Everyone needed to know if exactly. It's like my medicine can wait. My life can wait. My high blood pressure can wait. My lunch can wait. But we can't wait to know what's going to happen with this guy and this pig. We got to know. We got to find out. And that's, I guess, human nature, right? We're told to look away. We want to look more. That's what it is, man. Sex with a pig. Yeah, that does happen in this episode. Sergio Martino would have loved that with Mountain of the Cannibal God. If we've ever any Mountain of the Cannibal God fans in here, you will love this episode, I assure you. They all wanted to see it. Everyone was trying to watch. And of course, the number one thing they missed was the reason it was all happening was the princess who was let free all at the same time. But we were all so focused on this poor bastard that we forgot about the princess herself. And that's reality. And I think that there's truly nothing more horrifying than when reality and horror meet. Because it hits home. It really does always hit home. So really like this one. The national anthem comes in at an A, and I think a really perfect episode to kick off this entire series. A keeper, a total keeper. Of course, the following week, December the 11th of 2011, season 1, episode number 2. This is actually my favorite episode of the season. 15 million merits. Yes. In a world where people's lives consist of riding exercise bikes to gain credits, Bing tries to help a young woman get into a singing competition show. Wow. I quite liked this one, and I want to just drag it up here because that is the one we are talking about here. 15 million merits, if you will, here, and I can give it a little bit of the screen here. This one was my favorite of the first season, and I thought when I first saw this episode, like the first episode doesn't make me think Twilight Zone at all. It really doesn't. I mean, it has messages, it has the morals and themes and commentaries and things like that. But for me, this was the episode where I went, okay, this is a modern Twilight. Like, this is the one where I saw the comparison of, oh, is this a modern day Twilight Zone? Yes. Like, this is the one for me that it was like, finally it clicked. I was like, okay, it only took 2 episodes, but boom, it clicked. We follow, of course, Daniel Kaluuya, who, of course, this is years before Get Out, years before he was more known as an actor. Of course, he may have been known at this time, but not as known, if you will. He stars as this guy who works in a society where you literally sleep in a cube, you wake up every day, and you don't earn currency or money or a paper value. Instead, you earn credits on this basically exercise bicycle machine. You go in and it's like a day at the office. You got to work your 9 to 5 and you pedal all day long, and you start to earn and slowly accumulate these credits that pop up on the lower part of their screen. They're of course given all these options to watch whatever television they want. It's all rubbish. Well, you can watch stand-up comedy, you could watch pornography, you could watch whatever it is that you want to watch on the boob tube. It is literally a boob tube, if you will. No lack of a better word there. That's what it is. We see the society, and I like that they kept it rather ambiguous. We have, I guess, the middle class is what Daniel Kaluuya is supposed to represent, because we also have these people that dress up in these yellow suits, and they are all overweight, noticeably overweight. So it seems like if you're overweight in this society, you are the lower class. If you're in shape, whatever, you work in the middle class as one of these exercise people collecting credits. And then, of course, if you're in the upper echelons, the upper class, you're on television. You're doing something to, entertain, or you're doing something to produce something that will entertain the masses. That's how this world works from the outside looking in. And of course, we don't get to see the outside world at all in this episode. What we see are these screens throughout the entire episode. We see day in and day out how Daniel Kaluuya lives his life in this society. And I was like, wow, I love how they immersed you in this world, even though it's not an open world. If anything, it's a closed world. But I thought they did a really good job at establishing this community. I was like, this is really well done from a directorial standpoint. I loved the visuals. Just thought it was really, really like appealing to the eye. And of course, Daniel Kaluuya, he eventually sees this girl who she starts in, working there, played by Jessica Brown Finley, and her name is Abby Khan, and he introduces himself to her, and he one day overhears her singing in the bathroom. And he stops what he's doing and he confronts her after she gets out of the stall. And he's like, hey, I don't want to weird you out, but that's the most beautiful singing I've ever heard. Like, you made my day today. That was so beautiful. And she's like, oh, well, thank you. Like, they kind of garner a crush on one another. They sit down, they have lunch together. And he says, listen, you really have a true talent, and I would love to help you out with that. And she's like, well, what do you mean? Well, he says, you can get this ticket to this talent audition, and it cost 15 million merits. Like, if I gave you mine, you could go and try out, and you could, see if you can make it and become a star. You could become one of the best singing stars that we have in this little niche world. And she's like, oh, I can't do that to you. I've just started here. You've worked up to have 15 million and change. I can't just do that to you. And he says, listen, my brother, he passed away. He gave me 12. Like, I only had 3 myself. Like, I want to see something beautiful again in this world, because he is fed up with how artificial this entire society has become, right? It's no longer we interact with one another. There's no longer water cooler moments. There is just people that get up that are machines working on machines to, of course, garner their credits, and they go to bed. And they live in this society where, you could take a show, you could pass a show, whatever the heck you want it to be. And I thought that was so interesting. Because here's this guy that is sick and tired of the world that he is living in, this artificial taste. Nothing is organic anymore. Nothing hits the same anymore. Where is the innocence in this world? And of course, he reaches out to her and says, I think you're beautiful, and I think that you can really do this. I think you can make it. And so they kind of garner this plan so she can get the ticket to the talent show and sing her heart out and see if she can make it. And of course, they go together. They take her in the back. We have this very fun scene in the back where all these people are, pretending to do the talent and stuff like that. They take her over to the side and they say, hey, before you get on stage, you got to drink this. And she drinks this little juice box called Compliance. She goes out there and absolutely rocks it. She sings this beautiful song. They're all, they're crying, basically, the judges. And you're thinking, oh my God, she's going to get the spot. Like, she's going to make it. Like, what a beautiful moment. What a nice story for her. And how cool of Daniel Kaluuya to do this for her. And of course, it all turns on its head. Well, we don't really need singers right now. That may have been the best singing I heard on this show in a fortnight. He says all this stuff, and of course, it's all bullshit. It's all glad handing because they don't want more singers. They need an opening in the Wrath Babes channel, which is essentially this world's pornography. They need a new porn star. And those yits on our screen, honey, you'll be singing for joy. And that's basically what they offer her. They say, we have enough singers. You're beautiful. You're talented. You can sing like the rest of them. But that's not what we're looking for right now. And as you see her reaction of her soul being crushed before our eyes on the stage, she's like, I just wowed you. I did everything that you said, that you never were going to give me a chance anyway. You just wanted me for one thing. And of course, her disappointment. Daniel Kaluuya has to be kind of wrestled off to the side. And they say, what do you say? Do you want to be pedaling on a bicycle for the rest of your life to learn your living, to be eating green apples out of a vending machine for the rest of your life? Or do you want to make it? Do you want to be a star? And of course, because she's drinking the Compliance, she says, hell yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll be your porn star. And basically that's what happens. She becomes their head porn star, and every single night they are given the suggestion, do you want to watch this? And Daniel Kaluuya, he can't even look. My brother died for these credits. I gave her these credits because I wanted to see something non-artificial again. Yet here I am being offered this opportunity where she killed it, but now you've just kind of made her into your own artificial puppet that's going to perform sexual acts for a living, for us to view, for our entertainment, by God. And he's sickened by this. And what I love is Daniel Kaluuya's slow descent and breakdown here. He goes mad. He starts banging on the screens in his room and crying and breaking down. A little piece of glass is broken off. He, of course, does keep a token of this small penguin that Abby had made of cardboard for him as like a token of remembering the innocence, remembering, this non-artificialness. And he starts to work his ass off to try to get back to the talent show. So we follow him over months, over seasons, probably over years, trying to get back to the 15 million credits. He's working, he's, conserving. We see the seasons going through his room, right? We see winter, we see spring, we see fall, we see summer. I loved how all this was done as Daniel Kaluuya is like learning how to dance and things like that, until he finally gets back to the show. And hey, I have your Compliance. He had saved the Compliance that she had, so he's not under the influence when he gets up there. He gets up there and he cuts a scathing promo on them with a piece of glass to his neck. He's like, you and your motionless, senseless faces, it's disgusting, it's horrible. He goes on and on and on with this amazing 2-minute speech of a rah-rah of how the corporate system is corrupt and how all of these people are just truly puppets and emotionless and they do not have souls. I love how he performs and delivers this promo of you bastards. It's great. And what happens? That's the best goddamn speech I've heard in a fortnight. The guy on the fucking stage, he says, hey, why don't we give you your own show? We can give you your own show where every week you can get on here and you can talk about how corrupt the corporate system is. You can talk about it and shit on it all you want. Twice a week, 30 minutes of each posit. What do you want to do? What do you say? And he's not under the influence of compliance. He's not under the influence. I was hoping when I first watched, I'm hoping, oh my God, just stick it to them, stab somebody, do something, tell them to go fuck themselves, die for a purpose. What does he do? He complies. He complies. And of course, the next thing we see is he has become one of their main podcasts, and he's in his room setting is the glass to his neck, and he talks about how horrible the system is each and every week, but he's now become part of the system, which of course, delegitimizes, I'm sorry if I could say this fucking word, it's not as legitimate anymore because, of course, who are the people that are talking about how corrupt the system are? It's the people that are also working for said system. And he walks out, you see it's just a backdrop that he's been cutting the promos on, and he's in this beautiful white apartment. And the last shot we see is him looking outside, and it's a big question for the viewer. Is he truly looking at the outside of the world? Are these real trees? Are these real birds? Are these real clouds and skies and suns? Or is this another screen? Is there ever a way out of this world that we see? And then we also see on the counter, if you have that eye, you'll see an artificial penguin that has been created and sculpted for him, right? There's truly nothing artificial anymore. Amazing. Another amazing episode. I mean, from top to bottom, the idea, the world, the performance from Daniel Kaluuya, my favorite of his career. I thought he did a really, really outstanding job. I can't tell you enough. Like, if you don't think it sounds interesting, watch it for his performance alone. He really does deliver. And of course, the ideas that this thing has to throw at you, right? The ideas of classism, socialism, the ideas of the low versus the rich, the ideas of, is there ever really any way out? Can we ever really take the purity of ourselves, the dignity within ourselves with us if we do sell out to the system? And you see that there is none of that. Like Abby is completely, when you see her on the porch, she's not there. Like the lights are on. There's nobody home, brother. There's nobody home. And the same with Daniel Kaluuya. He's become almost like an avatar. He's become a prop at the shop. That's all that you've become. He wanted to prove a point. He wanted to stick it to them. But when given the offer for 1 hour a week, can you just shit on us and we'll pay you to do so handsomely and you can live in this beautiful white cleansed apartment? Who would say no? I guess the part of us pure people, we want him to see him stick it to them. But I guess in reality, and what's so scary about this is the fact that I think most of us probably would have sold out too if you're telling me there's a chance that the outside there is real. I personally don't think it is real. I think it's a screen that he's looking out at the end. I truly do not think there is an outside world in the world that they craft for us here. I truly do think this is an enclosed world. But I thought they did a really good job all the way around. Great storytelling, great performance by Daniel Kaluuya. I just really loved this episode. I have to say, this is going to be an S for me. I really liked 15 Million Merits. I thought this was like the first episode where I went, okay, now I see why this show is considered great. Like National Anthem's a banger. National Anthem is a tremendous opening to the show. I think 15 Million Merits that's the episode that made this Black Mirror. Like, to me, that's the one where you just go, wow, that episode, that one. Really, really good stuff. So let's go back to the comments. I'm sorry, I was in rant mode there. Well, not rant mode, but you know what it is. Let's see. I think we were here. 15 Million Merits went over my head. I need an explanation. Well, I got you, Triple H. All good. Dr. Howdy 666 is in the house, aka Dr. Hogg. Well, if Dr. Hogg is not the biggest fan of the national anthem, I don't know who else would be. What's good, everyone? Grande looking handsome as usual. Well, thank you. Right back at you, handsome devils. You sold me a Daniel Kaluuya. Now I need to check this out. He's one of my favorite actors. Oh, if you like Daniel Kaluuya, look no further than this episode. He is electric in this role. He really is so good in it. And like, I love that sometimes a lot of actors, they'll resort to what they have to say, right? It's all a situation of how do I deliver my lines. Daniel can tell a story with his emotions, like just with his face, just with his expression, right? We see in the moment that they crush Abby, he is also crushed too. It's not just that they killed her, it's like they killed a part of him, and then his focus, his rage, and his determination to get back on that stage and back in that position. All of he just becomes locked in, and I love like from there on out. You're like, holy shit! And then the ultimate disappointment at the end. You wanted him to be like, fuck you, no, I'm not doing this, and he does it anyway. He complies, even though he was not forced to with that juice. He ended up doing it because he knew that this is the only way out. How long is each episode? I'm getting enticed. So most of these run, at least the first season, most of them about 45 minutes. There's one episode that's over an hour. That's the finale of season 2, which is an hour and 13. I don't think any of them run over an hour and a half. I think they're all about 45, 50 minutes in that range. They do vary, though, as the seasons go on. But this season, about 45 minutes, most of them. It was very claustrophobic. And they are all watchable on Netflix. They're all on Netflix. If you have Netflix, you can watch it right now. It was very claustrophobic with the small cube that they live in. That is the part that bothered me the most. I felt like I was there, very uncomfortable feeling. Yes, imagine that. Imagine you lived in a fucking cubicle your entire life. And that, you had to pay fees in order to not watch porn, in order to not watch this rubbish on TV and Jerry Springer and Top Star and American Idol and whatever the hell else that there is in this world to offer. What if you had to pay to not watch that stuff? I could just choose in reality. I could choose in the open world. I don't have to watch American Idol. It's a bunch of nonsense. In this world, though, there's going to be a fee. And if you have insufficient funds, or watch American Idol tonight. This episode also has Rupert Everett. That's right. He's the judge. That is right. Holy shit. Good catch, man. I did not notice that. That's, of course, an icon, man. I love Rupert Everett. He's an awesome actor. I remember this episode. This is a good one. Really good one. Man, I just added Black Mirror to the watch list. Looks like they are about 44 minutes long. This one's due for a rewatch. Yeah, I highly recommend a rewatch. I really do. I think it's a really good episode. It's amazing how you were talking about an episode with Rupert Everett, and this year we just lost Michelle Trachtenberg, who was in Inspector Gadget. Yeah, which is RIP. I know it just came out that I think it was a diabetes complication, something like that. I don't know. It's sad. It's really, really sad. Okay, thanks for the explanation. My brain was stuck on some dystopian future and a weird reality show. Didn't think of the classes. Well, it's like, I don't know if you're familiar. So 1984, I don't know if you ever read that, the George Orwell novel. I definitely see a lot of that in here. I like this one. It feels very Twilight Zone-esque, right? Like I can almost hear, and that's the beauty of Black Mirror, and why I do call it a modern day Twilight Zone as well, is you can sometimes, if you faintly look at it, maybe this is just me, but when the episodes end, I can almost hear Rod in my head saying, where is this place and when is it? And the answer is it just doesn't really matter, because that's it doesn't matter. That's not the point. That's not what we're trying to break through here. What matters is what's going on. And we see that portrayed out throughout the episode. I think it's a screen 2. It's a top 3. Or the S2, you maybe met, almost like a fate was predetermined in a way, but they were made to think they had a choice. Exactly. You don't have you never have a choice. You may think you do. You may think you have all this talent, but at the end of the day, they're going to be, the ones that choose your fate. Yeah, I guess so. I would call it Grande Euphoria. That I may have to steal that one, but I may have to trademark that one. Grande Euphoria. R.I.P. Jay North. He was known for playing the role of the main character on the classic TV series Dennis the Menace, absolutely, or Star Search. The original 1984 movie is pretty much like an inspiration to Escape from New York, because it also had the late Donald Pleasance. May he rest in peace. Absolutely, yeah. 1984 is a classic novel. That's one that we read in high school, and we even covered it in college, I think, at some point. But that's something I instantly was. I thought of that. I thought of that book. It's nothing. I would say this is a lot better than the book, actually, but that's just me, and I'm more of a film guy, so that is what it is. But that is 15 Million Merits. My favorite episode of the first season by far. As we move on to the highest rated episode of the first season here, of course, season 1, episode 3, this was the season finale. So I'm not kidding you when I say that these are some short seasons. We're already at the end of season 1. The entire history of you. In the near future, everyone has access to a memory implant that records everything they do, see, and hear. You need never forget a face again. But is that always a good thing? Yes. The season 1 finale, the entire history of you. Now, I get that this is a really popular one. Like if you look at this isn't like everyone's top 5, top 3. This is like one of the most highest rated episodes. I do like the episode fine. It's nothing I dislike. I just think in this company, it was easily the weakest. Like of the first season, this was the weak point for me. Now that's not to say that it does not offer some really, really good and intriguing ideas. Because the premise, the idea, I think may even be the best of the first season. It's just as far as execution goes, where I have a few separate issues, but we'll get there. This one, of course, it stars Toby Kebbell, if you will, and Jodie Whittaker. They're a couple. They seem very happy, and we watched as the episode opens as Toby is in the office and he's being talked to by the suits, right? These people that are holier than thou and suave and sophisticated and better than you or I. They sit on a higher, they're above him, right? And he's hoping for a job promotion, a job situation. And he has the whole interview. He gets back in the taxi, and what he immediately does, he pulls out this little device which you can rewind or fast forward, all these moments that happened just in your past, right? So he goes back and replays the meeting. And what he'll do is he'll study each person's face. Like, okay, what was she doing? What was her body language? What was when he said, we really want to see you again? Was he genuine? Like, study his body language. And it's a situation of, wow, that is so freaking cool if you think about it. What if you had this magnifying glass where you could go back in time and look at a situation and study it to the point where you can try to read someone's body language into determining what was just going on? What were they really saying to me? What really happened in that office? That's the premise of that is beyond cool. Like how many times in your life? I mean, I'll be guilty of it. I'm one of them. How many times in our lives have we received a text message that we analyzed, that we studied, that we've pondered about, that we've read over and over and over? And I'm not being over the top, but I'm talking over and over again. How many times has that happened in our lives where we're looking to find these hidden meanings behind every comma, behind every question mark, behind every emoji that there may be on the page, on the freaking phone that you can see? And we look into it and we go crazy, stir crazy in our minds, trying to figure out what the hell that this text message meant. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time it has happened in my life, I would be a very rich man. I would be in the suits, right? It's just human nature. Sometimes we overanalyze things. Sometimes we overthink it. And yeah, there are some people that won't overthink situations, but there are the people like me, and I'm sure plenty of others that do. And this is an episode that kind of plays out like that. Of course, Toby Keith, he goes home to this party where it's, of course, his wife, played by Jodie Whittaker, and, of course, some of their house guests. And they're, of course, all talking. There are these boring jokes around the table. And we watch how, Toby starts to analyze this night when he gets home. He sees how his wife Fee was interacting with one of the other house guests, and he kind of doesn't like them. And of course, it comes out that, hey, we had a thing for about a week. Like we were together for like a week. Sorry, like I never told you, but we were together for a week. And he goes, okay, it's okay. It starts to stir him up, so he starts drinking. He stays up late night. He keeps studying this party to the point where he is driving himself slowly mad. Wait a minute, was it only a week? Was this joke that he said really that funny? And he keeps rewinding these things and looking at just her reactions to the things he is saying. And he's starting to get even more furious. He's like, she's the only one at the table that laughed. Like, why is that so funny? You dated him for a week. What is so funny about this shitty joke? And of course, it all escalates and grows as does paranoia, as does anger, as does jealousy, if you will, as does the green-eyed monster that drinks his juice. That's what he becomes in this episode. And of course, he finds out, well, maybe they dated a little bit longer than a week. Maybe it was a month. Then it's revealed, hey, they were maybe dating for 6 months. Hell, maybe she's still dating him. And you get to the whole finale where he goes to this guy's house. He's, what did you do to my wife? How long have you been with my wife? She told me it was nothing serious. I want to see all the history that you have. He starts beating this guy up. And you're like, holy cow, like what the hell's going on? He goes home at a point and the wife is like, listen, we got to kibosh this. Like, I love you. Please, don't do this anymore. And then, of course, what we see is that these two may have had sex about 18 months prior to their child being born. and maybe, just maybe, his child is not his child. And that's the big kind of twist in the episode, where this guy was being all paranoid, he was being all overprotective, what have you, whatever you want to call it, and he was actually justified. This woman was sleeping around with this guy, and of course, where you found from that, right? Where what good has come from it? Now you know the truth. Now the cat is out of the bag. Now your child, right? Your child, who you have loved for the past year and a half and loved as your own, now you know it's not yours anymore, because you look at their eyes and they're not your eyes. They don't match. They match his eyes. Oh shit. And this ain't my kid. And now all we see is this guy left to his empty house, his empty memories. He's rewinding. Hey, we see the staircase at a time where we were laughing, running up it. We see darkness. We see the dinner table where we were all laughing, having dinner. Darkness. We see this guy going to the bathroom, and now he wants to cut this thing out, because the last thing he wants to do is remember the good times when he has fallen on hard times. And that's kind of how this, it's really well done. It's I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. It really isn't. It's a way above average episode. It's probably going to land in like the B+ range. I do have some knocks though. It becomes rather redundant after a while. Like it's like, how a fucking time. And I get it, that may be part of the point here, maybe part of the story that we're telling here, that yeah, you look over it again and again and again. I just felt like after about 25, 30 minutes, I was like, okay, wrap this up. Like, this one didn't need to be 45 minutes to me. There are other interesting ideas and themes brought up here, though. There's an interesting part where the couple, they're having sex after he found out that they had a thing, and you can see they're both on their little device thinking of better times when they were having sex. So they're having sex, but they're thinking about or watching better times they had sex. I was like, holy shit, like, that's really sad that you have to pull out this device as you're fucking to think of a better time when you were fucking. And it could be anybody else. She could have been dreaming about Mr. Right, who of course impregnated her. It's never said. That I think is really dark, and it's a really, really good idea, and it is executed fine. I guess it's just a situation where I found the episode a little bit repetitive and a little bit redundant. But that's not to say, again, that the performance here aren't really good. I really actually particularly like Jodie Whittaker as Fee. I thought she did a great job. I really did believe her at first when she's saying this was just a fling, like, I love you, like, you got to believe me. And I felt betrayed. I was like, damn, I believed you, Fee. Like, what the fuck? And then, of course, you went behind this man's back and did what you did. I thought that was so dirty. I was like, oh man, like, I pissed that I trusted you. I was kind of kicking myself. Solid episode. I know some people say it's one of the best ones. I'm not there. I would dare say of these 7, this is the weak one for me. And it's not, again, it's a B+. So if the weak one's a B+, fuck, I mean, you could do quite worse than that. But I don't know. This one for me, it comes in at like a B+. I think it's solid. I think it's good. It's everything well directed. There's nothing really wrong with it. But it's a situation where, I don't know, I found a lot of these more enjoyable, or at least more like my cup of tea, if you will. You can have the copyright, but there is a tariff on it. Mateo, I got you. Tariff to Mateo. I got you, buddy. All day, man. This episode makes me think of that underrated movie, Johnny Mnemonic, where Keanu Reeves' character has an implant in him. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Yeah, like, I thought the idea itself, like, you could have maybe done more things with this, like more fun things with this. But again, I get why they would do with relationships. I think it makes perfect sense. Like, I can tell you how many times in the past, where I was texting a girlfriend at the time, where I got a text message and went, wait, what does she mean? Like, and then I just overread it and analyze whatever, and it turned out to be nothing, right? Here's a situation where it didn't turn out to be nothing. It turned out to be your kid isn't really your kid. And like, you got to cut this thing out of your fucking head before you lose your mind entirely, if you haven't already. I haven't seen this one in so long. I think it's the weakest too. Still good. Aspects are awesome. I love the angle, the paranoid anxiety coming true and shit. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Like, the idea, the horror, it's all fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just one where, I don't know, in this company, no way is this one of the best. And I'm surprised. Like, it has a very high rate. People love this one. I don't know. I was like, okay, like, solid, but nothing great. Nothing to truly run home about for me, especially when you're talking about this show. But let's move on. Let's move on to bigger and better things. And of the 7 episodes I watch, it's funny, we watched the one just past that I thought was the weakest, We move ahead to season 2, where we watch the one that I thought was the best. Of course, this was 2 years later, 2 years down the road. This was early February 11th of 2013, where we finally got season 2 from Zeppotron, our good friends over in Great Britain. This is season 2, episode 1. Be right back. After learning about a new service that lets people stay in touch with the deceased, a lonely, grieving Martha reconnects with her late lover. Of course, this stars the voluptuous. We got to say it. We got to say it in the Dusty Rhodes, because Cody's in the main event this year. Come on. We got to say it. The voluptuous Haley Atwell, baby. And I don't care what everybody else doing. Haley, I reserve the stratosphere for you and me. One of the most beautiful women on God's green earth. We got to love Haley Atwell. Her yits are legits. One of the most, I think she's beautiful, but with all seriousness and kidding aside, I'm sorry. Was the guy Italian? Because that explains the entire episode. No, he was British, but that is pretty funny. That is amazing commentary. No, it is not. So 7 episodes per season, not necessarily. So 7 seasons. Some of them have 3, some of them have 4, some of them have 6, some of them have 5. It all varies. I don't think there was a season with more than 7. So no, not many. I mean, you have 33 total in 7 seasons. So you could do an average. That's literally less than 5 per season. That's the average of, because 7 does not go into 33 evenly. So it's a situation of that. It's crazy. This episode makes me think of the Joel Schumacher movie Flatliners, which also involves communication with the afterlife. I've heard people compare this episode to Her, the Joaquin Phoenix movie, which, funny enough, did come out also in 2013. A great movie, one that makes me cry like a fiend. I'm not even going to lie to you. This was my favorite episode of The Bag. I loved this. This tells the story of Haley Atwell and Dom Hall Gleason. And if you don't know who that is, if you know the new terrible Star Wars sequels, General Hux. If anyone remembers General Hux, the redhead guy, he also played one of the Weasleys in the Harry Potter movies. He is the love interest, the husband in this to Haley Atwell. So basically, the episode opens up. It's a rainy, dark, stormy night. Haley Atwell has her coffee. She's knocking on the window of her husband, and he's kind of busy texting on his phone. Hey, open the door, open the door. He doesn't pay attention at first. She finally gets his attention, gives him the coffee, and they start driving, and they're just talking. It's a normal couple talking on a rainy night home. They put on that classic Bee Gees song, if I can't have you, if I can't have you, I don't want it. I don't do no good Bee Gees impersonation, but you get the picture, right? If you could sing. They played that great Bee Gees song, If I Can't Have You, and they're just bonding. You see this couple and how they jive, how they match. She's offering him dinner when they get to the house, and he's still busy kind of on his phone, messing around with pictures and things like that. And of course, we see them have sex. We just see a night and day in their lives of this couple being normal, their how they mix, how they work. He goes off to leave for work for the day, and he does not come back. Haley Atwell starts freaking out. Where the hell is he? What's going on? Until she gets the fateful knock at the door. Listen, there's been an accident. And it's very heavily insinuated. And I think for Black Mirror commentary, it has to be that he was texting and driving and ultimately died. It's never said, but it is heavily fucking insinuated to the point where it had to be the case. He may have been texting and driving because she wasn't there to tell him to put it in the glove box. He crashed and died. We watch Haley Atwell as she truly is destroyed by this. She's a mess. She breaks down at the funeral. She's literally can't sleep. She can't function. She can't do anything. She really is completely distraught and destroyed by the loss of the man that she loved. And of course, at the funeral, she starts talking to this wacky lady who says, hey, I have a thing that could help you out. There's a program that helped me out that I could sign you up for if you wanted. And Haley Atwell's like, shut up, just shut up. He starts screaming at this lady to shut the fuck up, you maniac. I just lost my husband. Like, get out of my face. She gets home, and of course, she's checking her emails finally, and she gets a message in the emails from her late husband. Oh, shit, what the hell's going on? So she calls this lady in the middle of the night. What the hell did you do? Well, I signed you up without your permission, and basically, you can talk to your husband. What happens is she sends all of his personal social media info to this company, and they create like an artificial intelligence version of what this guy was, right? And a version that you can talk to all the time via Messenger. And she's like, no, my God, I'll never do that. So silly. And she goes, well, try it. Just try it. Like, I signed you up for it. There's nothing to lose. If you don't like it, stop talking to it. So she starts the message, and she within seconds realized, oh my God, like this is him. It's like I'm talking to him again. It's like he's in the room with me here again. And the texting becomes talking. Of course, he can mimic the voice perfectly and say things that he would say, has humor that he would have based on all of the things on social media that it is studied. And to the point where she says, listen, this is not enough for me. Like I need physical interaction. Like I miss you. I need you. Like it's one thing to have you in my ear all day. I need you here in the room with me. That's the part I miss now. And he says, well, there's this thing you can do, but it's rather expensive. And she goes, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. So she orders basically these body parts in the mail, which she puts in the fucking bathtub and like smears in this jelly and freaking shock and all this stuff. And she has to run the water. And all of a sudden, she's sitting downstairs letting the water run. All of a sudden, you hear someone coming down the stairs, and it's him. He's like reincarnated in this kind of artificial, intelligent, Pinocchio-esque version of a man, and it looks identical to the guy. Sounds just like him. It's basically him. And she's like, "Oh my God, it's you." And at first it's all great. Like let's kiss, let's reminisce, let's walk together, let's talk together, let's go here, let's have sex. And of course there's an amazing sex scene. That's all I will say, with Haley Atwell and her giant yitties. We don't see her full yitties, but we get enough. We get yit grabbing, and it was great. I love that part. But you also see that because he's like a machine, he can perform better than a human. So it's like something he turns on, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. Where'd you learn how to do that?" He's like, "Studied it online." I thought that was great. And of course, as things seem so good at the beginning, what the old man from Pet Cemetery stays and remains true. Sometimes dad is better. And sometimes must not be texting and driving on that wrong, you see? I mean, that's the whole thing here. As this goes on, she starts to find cracks. She starts to find the kinks. She starts to find the things that do not make him what her husband was, right? The differences. I'm spotting the differences. And how many times in our real lives have we been there, right? Again, I can totally relate to it. Perfectly honest with you. My last ex, right? We broke up several times. The first time we broke up, I was like, I'm going to go on a date. I went on a date with a good looking nurse. I was like, I am doing good. I'm chilling. But what did I do? What did I do on this? I had to find it. It went fine. It's fine date. Really was fine. But what was I doing? In the back of my head, psychologically, comparing. I was comparing. Wait a minute. You didn't laugh at this. Adam, sorry. That person would have laughed at that. I didn't mean to name drop. Sorry. That person would have laughed at this, and oh my God, I said that. Oh my God, that person would have, thought this was the greatest thing in the world. You start comparing, like, and it's not even really intentional. It's just, I think, human nature to be like, okay, there's the differences here. Here's what I like about your difference. Here's what I don't like about your differences. And of course, what she is looking for is not another person to go out with to the movies on a Saturday night. No, she is looking for her husband again, the same guy, the same thing. And he may look the same. He may sound the same. He may have studied the same things. But at the end of the day, sometimes that is better. And you're not who you say you are. You're not. You're just a robot. You're a machine. You can't feel anything because you're not anything. And of course, she starts to see this and goes star craving mad. She's like, I can't do this with you. This is not it. Like, this is not worth it. This is not real. And she starts to just really have these horrible breakdowns. And then she finds out one fateful morning, oh my God, I'm pregnant. What are we gonna do? I'm pregnant with this guy's baby. And of course, not the robot's baby, or the, I guess, AI's baby, but with her husband's baby. And of course, she knows she's gonna have to give birth at some point to this. And this is not a father figure in the life. This just looks like the father figure that would have been in her life. I thought the whole ending where they walk to this hill, and I thought the whole scope of the episode was really beautiful too. They get to this hill and they kind of look at one another, and there's a situation where she says, "You need to jump." And he's like, would I have ever done self-harm? Would I have ever done this? And she's like, well, you probably would have argued with me in real life, but I need you to jump. Like, that's what I need you to do right here and now. And she's trying to convince him to jump, and he won't do it. And she just lets out this big scream as we fade to black. And I remember being like, holy shit, like, where is this going to go? We fast forward to a few years down the road. We see she's had the child. Haley Atwell has changed her hair gimmick, I guess to signify the passing of the time. we see that the artificial intelligence is kept in the attic, and she lets the daughter go up there on the weekends to visit it. And it's a situation where you're going to be living with this grief forever. It's kind of a commentary on grief. We never truly can escape the ones that we love once they are gone, right? Once they are deceased, once they are past, we can remember them fondly. But if it was someone like this, someone that was a soulmate, someone that you truly did love and consider the one in your life, there's never going to be a point where you can just completely forget them and put them on the back burner. They're always going to be there in the attic, right? They're always going to be there, and you can grieve for them, but there's a situation where no one can ever truly replace the original. Sometimes dead is better. I thought this was a fucking masterpiece and one of, if not the best episodes of Black Mirror of the whole show. Now, I have not seen the whole show, so that's what I hold my tongue. Maybe there will be one to top it down the road. For me, though, I don't think you can top this. This is a perfect episode of television. Haley Atwell's performance is great. Aside from being beautiful, her performance is great. Like, she is truly a broken, bruised, and battered woman as we watch this thing play out. And I thought, wow, this is really well done. Like, from a top to bottom standpoint, General Hux's performance is great. I love Be Right Back. For me, Be Right Back is an absolute slam dunk S. My favorite episode of the first two seasons for sure. And the one that I would say I recommend watching the most, especially again, if you're a fan of The Zone. It definitely brought me back to The Zone. I could almost hear Rod at the end going, some people die, but sometimes memories, parts of them, the ideas of them, they live on in our attics. I thought that was smart. But let's get to the comments. Let's see what y'all have to say here in Grande's Graveyard. I think we were here. General sucks. Yeah, well, those movies fucking suck for sure. I will say the guy did a great job in this role. I don't hold General Hux against him. He got 3 fat paychecks. Good for him. But yeah, those movies are for the fucking birds. I mean, all 3. I didn't even see the third one. I tapped out after The Last Jedi. I left The Last Jedi. I was as red as a fucking tomato. I was so angry. It was like, fuck you. Fuck the horse you came into town with. I hate your guts. I mean, absolute fucking disgrace, man. We got Cooper Glover in the house. Hey, Grande. Hey, Cooper Glover. Hope all is well with you, my friend. After Hereditary, I don't trust anyone to help. Well, hey, that's understandable. Granted, this goes a lot better than that. It is, I don't know. I mean, I guess it begs the question, and this is open for the chat if you guys want to get personal, if you want to get deep with me. Is it like the whole grieving process? I mean, I know they say everyone grieves differently, right? And it doesn't even have to be a situation where this is a girlfriend and or boyfriend, whatever your preference or orientation would be. If I could speak properly here. Let's say it was a family member. Let's say it was someone you were really close with your family, a sibling, a cousin, a parent, a mom, a dad, etc. A pet. Part of you probably wants to immediately forget, the situation, but at the same time, those memories keep their memory alive in a weird way. And I think that sometimes if you have that physical manifestation, okay, yeah, you'll get the real thing back, but it's not going to be exactly the same. Then no, if it's not going to be the exact same and it never is going to be, then you got to just try to move on. And you can move on, but it's a situation where, yeah, part of them will always be with you, and that's kind of how I look at it. But we got LOVE Machine. What's up, Grande? What's going on? LOVE, what's going on, my friend? Hope all is well with you. This episode reminds me of something Cronenberg would do. Yes, definitely has Cronenberg body horror-esque like feel to it, like especially when the android is being placed in the tub, you get very big Cronenberg vibes. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. It's like a really fucked up Her. Like, it's very similar to that. And it's like, even, I guess, in a way, I don't know, like Pet Sematary in a way, right? But it's not as dark with that particular. It's not like he comes back and trying to kill her. It's a situation where he comes back and she is angry that it's not the exact same. She starts to find the kinks in the armor. Sex with Pinocchio. I mean, why the hell not? If the nose can grow. Sounds like the Twilight Zone, but I regard Black Mirror as the modern Twilight Zone. And absolutely, I'm with you there, man. I totally agree with you. Discussions about Yiddy action only on the Graveyard. Sometimes that is better. Better go to the graveyard in your sweater. Black Mirror does horror to the letter. Grande talking about season 1 and 2 as a double header. And it don't get no better than that. Dude, awesome freestyle, man. If it's not the same, I don't want it. Exactly. That's how the song goes. Sing it, man. Sing it. that for me. If it's not the same, I don't want it. Come on, I can't do the beat. I can't hit those high notes. I can't do it. But if I could, we'd have to belt it out together. Only on the graveyard. But yes, be right back. My favorite episode of the bunch here tonight. As we move on, of course, to the following week, this was season 2, episode 2, February the 18th of 2013. Talk about White Bear. White Bear. Victoria wakes up and cannot remember anything about her life. Everyone she encounters refuses to communicate with her, and they all seem to know something she doesn't. But what is it? All right, so this one is an interesting situation where, again, I didn't bring up the visual for you guys. I'm sorry. Well, now my computer froze, so that fucking figures. Oh shit. I really hope we didn't completely freeze this thing. Yeah, I don't know what I just did. I am so sorry. What the fuck? I clicked on this tab and it just, my whole computer's like, wait a minute. I hope you all can still hear me. I just froze. Dang it. And we were going so good. If it ain't you, I don't want it. My fucking computer froze. Well, yeah, I don't know what the heck happened. Oh shit, man. Let's just minimize. Minimize? Are we still good? I hope we can see the chat. Oh, man, I'm completely gone. Look at this. Oh, shit. Me and my dragon clicking. Are we still good, y'all? I think we're okay. Are we okay? I think so. Wow. I don't know what the fuck happened. Did I lose y'all for a minute there? I don't even know. I'm good. Okay. I am good. All right. I don't know what the fuck happened. So let's just gonna move on. Yeah, it is. It's a black mirror. I can take it off my own stream. The screen goes blank. I don't know. But yeah, I was trying to click and share this with you, which I will try to do. Before I was so rudely interrupted by my weird computer and its off days. I don't know. It was going good today until that happened. I don't know. White Bear. So this one is very reminiscent of like an exploitation horror movie in some ways. Like it stars this woman who wakes up and it's a very dull, gray, overcast day. She sees pills on the floor. She sees clues all around her, and she's trying to figure out who she is, what she's doing here. And then, of course, she dares to go outside, and all she sees are these people on their phones kind of filming her and stuff like that. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? What is this? And she starts to run around, and basically these crazy people in masks start to chase her with all these kind of foreign objects, whether it be an axe, whether it be a shotgun, whether it be a machete, what have you. She's like running for her life. She's like, what the fuck is going on? And meanwhile, all the people that she goes to for help, banging on the doors, let me in, help me out. They're not helping. They're just smiling and videotaping her. And you're like, whoa, what is going on? So an interesting open. You're like, whoa. And we are dropped in. I liked how they did this as in the same way as the viewer. I mean, I'm sorry, the viewer is dropped in the same way as the lead. We don't know who she is. We don't know what's going on. We don't know where we are. We don't know what's happening. But we want to find out the answer to this mystery. What is the answer? So as this kind of plays out, she meets this woman who kind of takes her under her wing. Listen, we'll get through this together. They're trying to run for their lives in this situation. We get introduced to more and more people that at first seem okay, then they become threatening. There's this intense scene in the forest where this guy takes them out and he ties them up to the trees and he says, I'm going to shoot you. One of them gets free, attacks and shoots this guy and runs off. And then, of course, our lead is like, oh, my God, what's happening? This one is really reliant on how it ends, right? It's a 30-minute, what's going on, what the heck, violence, exploitation here, there, and everywhere. Okay, what the hell is going on? That's basically what you're waiting for. And this is like a 40-minute episode. So once you're through the 30 minutes, you're like, okay, we need answers. What's going on? She goes to shoot one of these people herself, and confetti pops out of the gun. And she's like, what the fuck? All of a sudden we hear applause and she's turned around and there's an audience watching her whole ordeal and situation. And you learn that the people that were on their phones videotaping this, they were like tourists or a part of this attraction. And basically what we find out is this woman was, of course, arrested alongside her ex-boyfriend, and they were charged with the murder of a child. And we do see this child throughout the episode. She kind of has these visions. She sees these pictures and she's thinking, that's my daughter. That's my daughter. And then, of course, the cruel twist is, no, this is an innocent little girl that you cost her life. And we see that the boyfriend murdered the kid alive while our lead was just filming on her phone, laughing as this kid was fighting for her life in the forest and this guy killed her. So tell you that the boyfriend hung himself before he could get justice. And the idea is she's not sent away for 100 years for life of prison. She's sent to this particular experiment where she is forced to every single day relive the episode that we have just watched. She has to be tortured, exploited, run for her life, scream, beg, plead, the whole 9 yards, until at the end of the day where she is strapped down to the same chair. They set up the room exactly the way they want it. They kind of dress up the room where it's like, okay, you're going to find yourself here again tomorrow. And then they wipe her memory. So it's a situation where she's going to live this day over and over and over again for the rest of her life on a loop for 100 years. And this is an interesting commentary on, what is a cruel punishment versus what is not, right? Like, okay, we have a situation where this lady did something absolutely horrible. Now, was she the one that actually killed the girl? No. But filming it, laughing about it while you're watching a little child get burned alive in front of you, I mean, you're a sick bitch. And yeah, you do deserve punishment to me. I don't even know if this was cruel enough to me, but I guess if you think about it, well, it sounds pretty cruel, Grande. 100 years, she's got to relive this day in and day out. And the end of every day, she says the same thing. Oh my God, I don't want to go through this. Just kill me. Just kill me. I don't want to do this anymore. And one of them says, you always say that. So it's a situation where she has to relive this torturous, horrific day every day for the rest of her life. And we see that it's become this big program, and it's called White Bear. And that's, of course, symbolic of the white bear that this little child was holding and is seen throughout the episode. We do have this very interesting symbol of the white bear that's going to be hard to see there, but we do have that symbol, and that apparently will pop up throughout the rest of the series. It's become a big icon of Black Mirror itself. I like this episode okay, but I don't think it's one of the greats. Like, I would say it's probably an A minus, B plus A minus ish. It's somewhere like that. While I do like it, again, it's one that really you're just kind of waiting for the other hat to drop, if you will. You really is kind of sitting there. It's like, okay, the exploitation, the look, the uncomfortability, absolutely, but it's a situation where you're waiting for it. It's not like, and I know I read a lot of people compare it to this, and I kind of started hulking up, brother. I want to rip off my shirt and fucking body slam Andre the Giant, the Silver Dome, brother. I was getting pissed because so many people compared this to the 5 characters in Search for an Exit from the Twilight Zone. That's fucking sacrilegious to me to compare these two. No way. That, I get it, is a great twist as well in that episode. If you've seen the episode, you know what I mean. But the episode itself, like, one moment we woke up, here we were in the darkness, and perhaps we are the unloved, and all like the whole. That's a masterpiece of horror television to me, is 5 characters search for an exit. This is very good. This has a lot of elements from, I would say, like Wicker Man. I think it has a lot of elements of like exploitation, gritty, grindhouse type films with that very eerie setting of the overcast. That stuff is all really good. The lead performance is great. I'm scared to click on the tab again because it froze the whole fucking computer, so I'm not going to do it. But she gives a great performance. She really does. It's directed well. I just think it's a situation where it's good. I wouldn't say it's great. For me, B plus to an A minus. Oh man, this is really tough. This is like the borderline episode for me. I'm gonna say B plus, a high B plus for White Bear. For me, I know that's gonna be probably very controversial because that's one of everyone's favorite episodes. I think it's really good, just not an all-time great. Like, very good, not great. I'm just being fair. I'm just being honest, if you will. Still good on my end. Yeah, it's a Black Mirror. This episode of Grande's Graveyard is a Black Mirror episode. Yeah, for real. I get frozen in time. John Grande, a man who talks about his love of film and horror. Okay. John Grande, a man who talks about his love in film and horror. Tomorrow, he will realize that he took a trip into the inner regions of the Twilight Zone. Yes, where's Rod Serling at? He's up in his hometown of Binghamton. Alpha Romero's here. Damn, I'm late. The pig fucking episode was an S tier, right? Made it to the A. It made it to the A. I really like that one. But yes, no, pig fucking. I mean, if you're Sergio Martino, if this is Mount of the Cannibal God, Prison of the Cannibal God, whatever you want to call it, I would like to think that he would love this episode too, just because of the pig sex. Groundhog Day from Hell. Yeah, that's what it was, basically. I was like, okay. Like, I guess at the same time, you can argue certain things in this episode. Like, well, if they're wiping her memory, how horrific is it? Like, yeah, it's a horrific day, but she doesn't remember it. Like, what if she remembered it every day? But then I guess it would be defeating the purpose. Like, she would know what's going on. So it's really hard to do it without wiping her memory. Like, I get that. I'm kind of juggled with that where I'm like, it would be more effective if she knew every day. Like that would be more torturous to me is if you knew what was going on every single day. You're just in this place where you can't escape and you're just absolutely miserable. But I don't know, maybe that ending's been done to death anyway, and they went for something different here. So I appreciate that. This episode sounds like what the ending of Groundhog was going to be, in which Annie McDowell's character would be the one now trapped in the repeating universe, which, yeah, no, I mean, that would have been interesting if they had ended it like that. This episode, it is dark and depressing. It really is. Like the lead actress, her screams and yells and cries for help towards this end. I mean, I was like disturbed. Like it is truly disturbing. People saying, hi, who doesn't love some good old fashioned pig sex? Well, of course. I mean, what? It's just like baseball may be the national pastime, but pig sex is right there. It's right there up there with it. But let's move on to the next episode. This is one a lot of people hate, and I'm going to go to bat for it right now. We're going to do it. We're going to go to bat for season 2, episode number 3, which debuted on February the 25th of 2013. This is the Waldo moment. A failed comedian who voices a popular cartoon bear named Waldo finds himself mixing in politics when TV executives want Waldo to run for office. I see this one as one of the lower rated ones. A lot of people will tell you this could be the worst Black Mirror. If this is your worst, and granted, again, I've not seen all 33. I've seen some, not all 33. I mean, if this is your worst, this is one of the best shows ever. It really is. Like, and I'm going to have this above some episodes. This was not my worst of the week. I thought this one was damn good because of how I thought authentic it was. Now, this one tells the story of he's a down on his luck failed comedian played by Daniel Rigby, of course, and he every night he's a part of this like segment on a show where he voices this blue animated bear called Waldo, and you can see him here in the little, that's what Waldo looks like in the episode. He voices this animated bear, and he's very crude and curmudgeon and hates the world, but he's always funny and entertaining about it. And we see this guy backstage as he kind of puppeteers this animated character, and the expression of the bear will match his expressions, and he can make the bear dance and do things and throw up the middle finger, if you will. He can make this bear dance and do whatever it wants. It gets to the point where, of course, and I know now that Alpha's in the house, we got to mention this, the legendary Jason Flemyng, who plays this guy's boss, who, of course, Romero fans will remember from a little movie called Bruiser. Love Bruiser, and I love Jason Flemyng in it. He's great here, too. He plays the boss, and he says, listen, we're thinking about doing a thing where why don't we try to get Waldo into politics? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm not a politician. This is a little blue animated bear. Why the fuck would we do anything crazy like that? And he's like, well, why don't we go around, we'll hop in a van and we'll start taunting some of the people that are running for office that are looking to get the nomination for the political parties. He's like, why don't we just do it and heckle them? And he's like, well, what is the point? He's like, because you're funny and you're entertaining and they like you. You're over. People like what you have to say about society because it's real. It's genuine. It may be coming from a little blue bear, but hey, you feel it. It's in your heart what you say. We need to hop in this van right now. We need to start driving around the neighborhood and yelling at these people. And that's what they do. They start kind of crashing these people's public appearances. Hey, Monroe, why don't you get out of your car? Why don't you say something? Why don't you do something about me? I'm right here. Talk to me. He's trying to goat them into, stepping up and making an ass of themselves. And then it gets to the point where it becomes so popular that it's like, oh my God, you're going to have to run. And what I do think gets lost where people say this is not a good episode is the whole idea of the lead character and what he's going through. This is a depressed human. This is somebody that wanted to become a comedian, failed miserably at it, and is truly going through a depression. He's alone in life. The only thing he has is the vent through this little blue bear animatronically. It's not even him physically doing it on a screen. It's through an animation of a cartoon that he gets to vent his frustrations. And of course, we see how he is sexually frustrated. He does not have any woman in his life. He meets one of these women that's running for office, has an awesome one-night stand with her, and then is told, hey, if you're in this competition, we can't be seen together. We can't be doing this. Maybe I'll call you after the election. He's heartbroken by this. He's like, I just want happiness. Like, I'll drop out right now if it means we could be together. And she's like, well, no, like, don't do that. And there's a great segment where they all go on this talk show. It's Monroe, it's the female, of course, Gwendolyn Harris, played by Chloe Peary, and him, and it's the three of them on a talk show. And of course, Monroe is going on and on about his morals and how he will change society and blah blah blah. And of course, Waldo comes in and just cuts a great scathing promo on all of them. Yeah, she's even worse than him. She won't even want to represent you. She's just doing it for her public image. And him, he's terrible too. He'll represent you, but he's just this fraud. He's a fraud in a suit. His best friend, was into doing some pedophilish things for 20 years. You're telling me he didn't know? And you hear all this stuff where he's spitting facts at these people, making them look horrible, and in turn becoming this martyr, getting these votes from these people that are like, yeah, you know what? He's right. Fuck you. This bear is pretty funny. We're listening to this. And of course, as this starts to play out, he starts to become more and more popular to the point where it scares him. This is crazy. Why are these people actually fucking following me? This is actually crazy. It's a situation where, holy shit, I'm going on and on and on, and I'm actually starting to get a cult following. And this cult following ain't small. It's ginormous. And we may just win this fucking election. He's in the van at the end, and he comes to the point where he's like, I can't do this anymore. This is crazy. He gets out of the van, starts saying, don't vote for me. Don't vote. It's wrong. This bear, it's wrong. And of course, Jason Fleming starts to try to take over it. And he's like, hey, no, pay no attention. I'll give you 500 quid for anybody who punches this bastard out. So they punch him out and stuff like that. Thought that was really cool. My man wakes up and he's in the hospital and he sees the results. Well, how did the election go? Well, Monroe got 19,000 and change. Harris got 11,000 and change. Waldo got like 16,000 and change. Holy shit. This animated bear in an election came in second place. It almost won. It was less than 3,000 votes away from winning the whole fucking thing. And then, of course, when he wakes up from his, I guess, long sleep, coma, whatever, you see he's now homeless. He's on the streets living. He's drinking. His beard is growing out. And he looks to the screens, and what does he see but Waldo? Waldo is taking over the world. Waldo is now running the country. And I know a lot of people, they don't like the absurdity of that. They think that's far-fetched. I have to say no way. And I'm not a political guy. I'm not about to get political with you. I'm just stating facts here. So don't think I'm taking a side, because I am not. I'm not on anybody's side. Don't got no dog in the goddamn fight. I don't, and I never will. My problem with the people who say there's no way. We have had people that were a peanut farmer run this country. We have, and I'm talking about the United States. We have had people that were co-actors alongside Bonzo the monkey run this country. We have had the host of The fucking Apprentice run this country twice and is currently running it. Who's to say that a little blue bear couldn't take over the world itself if it got over enough, if it got popular enough? Sure, it sounds absurd to you and me that have morals, that have thoughts and ideas and can think independently. But to the masses, there's some stupid fucking people out there. And if there is enough of them, we will all be in trouble, because Waldo will be running the world before we know it. And I know people say it's absurd. It's too far-fetched. It's too goofy. It's too unrealistic. I am fucking sorry. In that company, there is no telling me that in a world where we were run by a guy who acted alongside fucking Bonzo, the fucking monkey, that we couldn't have Waldo the bear run it all. I thought this was really, really good. I really did. And I do think that, whatever reason people hate this one, that's fine. I'll be the first one to tell you I hate politics. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. I've seen it end friendships. I've seen it. It scares me. It really does. I could never imagine ending a friendship with someone because we didn't agree on, a situation politically. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't carry any weight. I care about people for people. But it's a situation with this, holy shit, man. I think they were right on the nose. Maybe they were a little bit ahead of their time. I don't know. But to me, they were right on the dime, right on the nose. And this is a damn good episode of Black Mirror for me. I'm going to go with the A. I know people, for whatever reason, this is the one they hate. I beg to differ. I think fucking Black Mirror Waldo, the Waldo moment, is a really damn good episode. But that's just me. I'm ready for you guys to chop me up in the comments. Let's see what y'all have to say. Not too many comments. Let's see. The title, it feels like a reference to those classic Where's Waldo? Of course, the man in the red and white stripes. Children books, and they were so popular in the mid 1990s, and they would be found in every library and bookstore. Of course, that was the most fun. It was almost like highlights. Dan Criggs is in the house. Yo, good luck with the rest of the show, bro. Thank you so much, Dan. Hope all's well with you, buddy. Let's see. The most terrifying thing about this show is that it's really not that far off from reality, and I think that's what I got here. Like, again, and not taking a dog in the fight, like I could totally see this happening, because it's not necessarily about who has the best values, who has the best ideas, who has the best plan. It is about who is the most popular, who is engaging those the most. And of course, then presented in a cartoon form, and it's funny and it's entertaining and we're all laughing. Who's to say? Who's to fucking say? I could hear Rod Serling in my head. Who's to say Waldo the bear couldn't run it all? I don't know. The bear is not horrible. The bear is encourageable. The results are resolvable, but maybe it can't be maybe it cannot be deplorable. Oh shit. Good point about the bear episode, Grande. Thank you. Hey Dan, haven't seen it in a while, not even close to the worst. There are some spotty stuff in later seasons for me. Yeah, that's what I've heard, but I always tell you, a lot of people warned me about this one, saying, oh, you're gonna hate it, you hate politics. And I was like, fully ready to take a shit on it until I watched it, and I was like, wait a minute, like there's more than meets the fucking four eye here. Nick Reap is in the house. When are you going to watch season 3? So my plan is it will be just like I did Crypt. I will space it out over time, like maybe every couple months. Then we'll do season 3, 4. We could sprinkle them. I would love if you want to join me for, like we did. I know we did a Crypt season together. If you want to do a Black Mirror season, I would love to have you on for one of these. I know Burns was interested for sure. If anybody's interested, I would be all for talking about Black Mirror with you guys, because this is just a lot of fun. And like I said, I do like to space it out, even though my friend she's told me that it's best to be binged. Like she's like, you got to binge the show. So it is what it is. Very insightful. Thank you so much. The bear can't do much worse. If you ask me, we already got too many monkeys and clowns making crazy decisions. I think that's what it's saying. I totally think that's what the episode is saying. I don't know why so many people find it so goofy. I'm like, think about it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Also love your perspective on this episode. I didn't like it at first, but your perspective makes it a lot better. Well, thank you. Hey, if you guys do disagree, don't feel like afraid to shit on it. Like I thought it was really well done. I liked this one. I don't know. I was just like, maybe I was expecting the worst and just saw the whatever in it, but I don't know. Always down, brother. Season 3 is probably the best in my opinion. Well, then you know what? We'll try to season 3. When I do it, I will reach out. And if that week, we'll fucking do season 3 together. That would be a lot of fun, because I have seen the Bryce Dallas Howard one, and I love that one. The rest of season 3 I have not seen, so that would be up in the air. But I'm totally down for that as well. Let's get through the last of season 2 in the meantime, because we are on the season finale. Yes, this is the last episode we'll be talking about here tonight on Grande's Graveyard. This one debuted. This is weird. So this was the next episode of the season, the last episode of the season. It does not air until nearly 2 full years after the last episode. So the Waldo moment was February of 2013. This one doesn't air till December of 2014. So wow, almost an entire 2 years, a year and 10 months until we get our next episode, the last episode of the season. Of course, this one's a little longer. It's an hour and 13 minutes. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. White Christmas, season 2, episode 4. 3 interconnected tales of technology run amok during the Christmas season are told by 2 men at a remote outpost in a frozen wilderness. Yes. Now, this one is the first one that does star an American actor. We do have John Hamm stepping to the role. This was the last episode, of course, produced solely for Zepotron, who, of course, they were the producers of the show before Netflix swooped in 2016 and bought the rights early 2016, and then produces the 3rd season in late 2016. This was the last one produced and done entirely by Zepotron, but this was also the first one featuring an American actor like John Hamm. Of course, it also has Ralph Spall, I hope I'm saying his name right, and Ona Chaplin as the other 2 supporting characters here. As all night, this has been the recurring theme of Grande's Graveyard. I haven't been grabbing the visual for you guys to see, so forgive me. But this is all 3 of them on the couch, so what better visual than John Hamm, Ona, and of course Ralph Spall all there on the couch there. This is a series favorite. This is considered by many to be the best, and I'm with you when it comes to its greatness. Like, this is a great episode of fucking TV, no matter what way you look at this. This episode opens up with two men. They're in it seems like, I always thought, like, when I first watched this, they were in like the North Pole or something, but they're not. They're just in like this isolated area, for lack of a better term. These two guys, one of them John Hamm, and the other one, of course, Ralph Spall. And of course, they're just talking. And he says, "Hey, man, we've been working here like 5 years now. Like, do you want to ever say anything to me?" The guy's like, 5 years? Has it been that long? He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "You've maybe said 3 words to me in 5 years." He's like, "Sit down. Can we have a fucking breakfast together? Can we talk?" And as they sit down and talk, we go back and forth in similar vein to, if people know this movie, I love you. I just do. Night Train to Terror. If you've ever seen Night Train to Terror, the whole idea of it is it's God and the devil, and they're on a late night train to terror, and they are talking and discussing about these people that have died and if they should go to heaven or if they should go to hell. And basically, their discussion about said person plays out like an anthology segment. Here's this guy who joined a death cult. Here's this guy who went to a creepy castle and they all died. And then it's God, the devil, kind of having these conversations. That's what this reminded me of. But except if that movie was fucking great, because that movie is terrible in a fun way. This is actually very good in every way. We follow this as it's three interwoven stories told by these two guys. The first two by John Hamm, the last by Ralph Spall. And I loved all three of these. I thought these were all really, really good. Of course, the first one is John Hamm, and he's basically playing this like life coach, if you will. This guy, he goes into a nightclub. He's kind of nerdy. His hair is all slicked back. He's just a nerdy guy. Nothing bad about it, but he's just a little bit, nerdy or whatever. He's walked into this nightclub and he's coaching him while he's watching basically through his eyes. He's watching him, play out this nightclub, and he's kind of coaching him into what to say, who to approach. Focus on the blonde. John Hamm is great in this role. He's so funny and charming, and that's always good to see John Hamm in anything. So he does a good job here. And we watch as this guy, he kind of has this moment and day and night in the club, as of course he starts hitting on this woman, and it starts to go well, and it starts to play out okay. And hey, do you want to come back to my place and things like that? And there's a moment where she catches him talking to himself, or so she thinks, right? He's kind of talking to him, but he's really talking to John Hamm, who's in his headset or whatever. It's this cookie thing that's in his mind. They go back to this lady's apartment, and she's like, "Hey, get comfortable in the bed." You think, "Oh man, this guy's in, like, jackpot." And it turns out that this woman is actually like schizophrenic and crazy and hears voices in her head, like Randy Orton-esque, like, right? Like IED, the intermittent explosive disorder. That's what this lady actually has. And instead of punt kicking this guy to Suplex City, she comes to the room and pours this poison margarita down his throat, and he starts coughing up blood, and they do this kind of Jim Jones thing together. And I was like, holy shit, man. And John Hamm and all these like Twitch streamers are watching alongside, and they're all like, delete the evidence, throw it away. They're all panicking and running around like fucking chickens with their heads cut off. I loved that story. Then you have the story with, of course, Ona Chaplin, where this woman, she's going in for surgery, and when she wakes up, she's an alternate version of herself where she's inside this little egg, and it's basically her whole life now has to be organizing the day, right? And it's a very, very Space Odyssey-esque with the music they play, with the furniture and stuff like that. I felt like it was a very Kubrick Lovers in the House. Did really feel like a nod to Stanley Kubrick and the production designs that of course Space Odyssey particularly had. I really liked that stuff. I thought this was all fun. And John Hamm, of course, is the guy explaining it to her. And they do this cruel thing where they make what feels like 5 minutes to you and me feel like 3 weeks to her. And she's like, "Okay, I know I was resisting. I know I didn't want to do this, but I'll do this now. Like, please don't do that again." He's like, "Okay, maybe we'll make you think about it another 6 months." It's like a minute passes, but it's 6 months inside the egg. You could fuck with altering time, if you will. And I thought that was, I was like, oh man, like that is cruel. And of course, once this woman comes to, she's like, all right, I'll accept my role. And this is her whole role in society now, is to control this lady every day, to organize her schedule. And that's her life now. So pretty cruel, pretty interesting use of technology. Again, really good visually. And then we get to the real, to me, the reason to watch this episode, which is the final story, where Ralph Spall discusses, he and his girlfriend, they were madly in love. There's this night where they go out to sing karaoke and get drunk and stuff like that. If you notice the song that one of the characters sing, it's the song from 15 Million Merits, the same one. I was like, Easter egg. She kind of gets home and she's sad, she's depressed. he's going through the garbage and he finds a pregnancy test that's positive, and he's like, is this yours? Like, are you really pregnant? I'm so happy. I love you. And he starts to get close, and she pulls away and says, I'm not having it. I'm not doing this right now. I can't put up with this stuff right now. And he goes ballistic. He's like, you have to ask me first. Like, this is partially mine too. And what she does is there's this thing where you can block somebody. Like, how many times have we blocked the proverbial person on our phone? What if you could do it in person? What if you never had to see that person's face again? You never had to hear them again, never had to. So they become this gray blob that you can like only hear muffled sounds from, and it's it's just this. It looks like the Predator, like the heat vision, but it's all gray. I was like, oh shit, like that is pretty dark to do. She just blocks this guy, and you think, okay, she'll probably get over it in a couple of days, unblock him, but no, she won't do it. And he starts to kind of stalk her until he sees every Christmas he knows that she goes to her father's house, and he sees that the kid has been born, but of course the offspring of someone that is blocked is also blocked too, so he can't even see his own child, and he's distraught and just ruined and really sad. And there's this whole situation where, oh my god, he sees on the news that she has passed away, his former ex, she's died, and now he's going to be able to see his kid. So he rushes there on Christmas Eve to see the kid, and sure enough, he realizes the kid isn't the same race as him. It's a little Chinese girl. And he goes, oh my God, she cheated on me with some guy she worked with. And it's this whole realization of this guy just like sitting down and being like, that's why she blocked me. That's why she didn't want to fucking have it. That's why, she never heard me out and didn't want to listen to me anymore. Like, you get this holy shit moment where like, oh my God. And then you see what has happened after this, right? This guy went out, he killed her father, it wasn't inadvertent, but he did. And then, of course, the little girl, in a panic, she ran out trying to find help in the snow and ended up freezing to death. And it's, of course, this guy's telling the story. He starts to cry, and John Hamm is like, do you confess? And he says, yes, I do. I confess. And it's a whole rib and ruse that the entire time, these weren't two guys that worked a job together for 5 years. These weren't two guys that knew each other for all this time. It just seemed like that from the one story that we got. And of course, John Hamm was brought in to kind of get the confession out of this guy. And of course, in return, John Hamm, for the murder of the guy in the first story, of course, that he was coaching him through, can walk free. And thus, he goes out into society, but he has to register as an offender. So he goes out and he's not a gray blob, he's a red blob to everybody, which has been a commentary on what probably a registered sex offender has to feel like every single day of their life. You can't live a normal life once you are a registered offender like that. Everyone sees you as this giant red disgusting blob, which is basically what you are. And man, that is, I think, really powerful. This one, it's so beautifully interwoven. It's seamlessly edited. It's like one of the best episodes as far as editing goes. John Hamm fucking steals this thing with his charm and his wit and just his performance and delivery. I think he does a great job. Rob Small is not one to be, forgotten either. He does a really good job when he starts breaking down and you see his reaction of like, oh my God, like this was, now I get it. Like his realization moment. I thought that was tremendous. I was like, wow, this is top-notch acting. One of the best episodes of this show so far for me, and another, I would say, S tier. I think this is a great one and definitely deserving of its longer runtime. So if you were keeping score at home, the rankings for Black Mirror Season 1, Episode 2, of course, is going to be 3 S's, 2 A's, 2 B pluses, of course, as we have 15 million merits. My personal favorite, Be Right Back. And then, of course, second favorite probably goes to Black Mirror White Christmas, which I really loved. And then, of course, National Anthem, Black Mirror, the Waldo moment, and, of course, Entire History of You and White Bear rounding it out in the B spot. Let's see what you guys have to say in the comments, though. I'm very curious. I think we were here. Grande, the I Can't Have You song is, I think, from the 70s. It was sung by a woman, I believe. I don't think the Bee Gees sang that song. Yes, they did. They play the Bee Gees version of it in the episode, but maybe it's possible the Bee Gees covered the song. I don't know if they originated with the song. That I don't know, but they play the song in the episode. They even say like, oh, the Bee Gees. This episode had Ona Chaplin, and if you don't know who that is, she is the granddaughter of one of the most classic comedians, Charlie Chaplin. I didn't know that. That is fucking really cool. I'm watching with my eyes, wearing with disguise. Here's a word to the wise: learn to live before you die. Well, hell yeah, man. If you ever see that movie Chaplin from '92, that movie had starred Ona Chaplin's mother, Geraldine Chaplin, playing the role of Mother Hannah, of course. That time stuff makes you think of Nolan's Interstellar, where like 1 minute on another planet is 100 years wherever else. And that's how it ends, where they end the guy that confessed he has to spend it's I think 100 years, 1,000 years a minute, and it's a situation where he'll be living this basically forever till eternity in his mind. So it's kind of crazy. He goes ballistic, rearrange the statistics, no longer creative or artistic. This will become quite practical and realistic. Have no fear. Watch Black Mirror. This episode will give you tears, or you can watch Cheers. Oh shit, man! This man about to write a song. But yeah, no, to everybody that is catching the replay of this, even if you want to comment down below, let me know what you thought of Black Mirror seasons 1 and 2, where you would rank these. Am I crazy for putting Waldo up so high? Am I crazy for having Be Right Back as my favorite episode? Am I crazy for having the entire history of you as my weakest of these 7? Comment down below. Let me know. I'm not afraid of your comments. I am always welcome to discuss controversy opinions. But this was a lot of fun, and I definitely would like to cover more Black Mirror down the road. This is going to be a show where I will absolutely come back to it down the road and do season 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Because I did really enjoy most of show prep this week. When you have 7 episodes and your lowest is like a B, that's pretty damn good. So I don't know. It is what it is. As we have Mateo saying Interstellar is overrated, super overrated. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is great visually. I think sometimes with storytelling, he pisses people off. Like people get really upset with the storytelling in his movies. So that's understandable. Like I hate Batman Begins. I think that's a piece of shit, which I think is an overrated movie. Hey, what's up? Trenchy's in the house right here at the end. I've only seen 2 episodes of Black Mirror. Well, yeah, I had only seen a handful, but I'm very glad to have watched seasons 1 and 2 this week for the show. It was a lot of fun. So next week on Grande's Graveyard, just a quick preview. We celebrate the life and career that was Mr. Val Kilmer. We'll have my top 10 Val Kilmer list of his top 10 performances, movies, roles, whatever you want to call it. I'm very excited for that, to pay tribute to Val. And then, of course, sometime over the weekend, I will release the May schedule for Grande's Graveyard. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Everybody, I want to thank you so much for catching out the show tonight. This was a lot of fun. As people are checking in right as we're leaving here, even all hit the like for only Chrissy. Happy belated, man. It's a great show. I'm going to have to go through it now. This got me hyped. So thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Great show. You got my curiosity going. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss C. Only people saying goodbye. We got Nice Stay Frosty. Hey, man, you too, always. 2 Sweet Peas. Absolutely. Everybody have a safe, happy, healthy holiday weekend, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. 2 Sweet Peas. We'll catch you next time, guys. Good night, everybody.